Today we are looking at the SH Figuarts King of Mons figure, the second large release in the SH Figuarts Ultraman line. Let's see if this figure is worth that aftermarket price. Taking a look at the sculpt and detail on King of Mons here. What can I say? This thing is huge. This is over 7 inches tall. To the top of the head, it's somewhere about 7 1/4. This thing is gigantic. When you compare it next to your Ultraman in your line, here's Jeed because I don't have Arc. Huge when you compare it to your Shinko Seiho Heisei trilogy, mainly Gaia because it's from the Gaia movie. You can see still just makes these guys look absolutely tiny. Here's Dinah and Tiga just to show that we have both brothers here. Yeah, it's huge, okay? This is a huge release, which is why it's was about $130, $140 before shipping at retail. But man, oh man, did Tamashi, the SH Figuarts team that works on the Ultraman line, that specifically worked on this figure, just fully pump a ton of love into this. This thing is crisp. It's got some weight to it as well. This thing is heavy. This is just a chunk creature. Look at this face. I love it. Yeah, we have to look at it a little bit sideways. I apologize. Look at that. The frills have gold little tips on them. Same with the chin. They're all over. Down here on the back, going down the head. It just is absolutely beautiful. Maybe I'm a little bit more impressed with this because I used to own the Ultra Galaxy King of Mons, the 2008-2009 release. And that figure was good for the time, but it was super small. So when when this was announced and once I finally got it in hand, I was just blown away. Look at how bright red this stomach is. I'm not an Ultraman professional, so don't take this as fact. I do believe, because I have seen Arc, and I have seen this movie, the Gaia movie, I do think this is a little bit, the colors are based a little bit more on the Arc design, which is a little bit more brighter, but also Arc mostly takes place during the day, and the Gaia movie takes place at night for a good chunk of it, or it gets darker, it's a little bit more clouded, so, it could just be the environment, but I do think this is closer to Arc's suit than the Heisei suit, but once again, it works for both. They use both to pose with it. I don't think they're going to release like a second version of it because, I don't think there's actual suit changes, but this thing is just huge. And the legs, look at those legs, those little stumpy legs with all the gray. I don't even know what that is. It's so cool. And the gold looks amazing, pristine. I love the way the gold is just, it's not super like bright, but it's super reflective. It looks older. It's just very nice looking. That's the tip of the tail. That's even got a little bit of detail. It's just pretty. Even the bottom of the feet have some detail. Of course, it has the legals on there as well, but, can't get away with the legals. And the teeth, we'll get into those a little bit more with articulation, but they look good too. They've got shading, highlights. It's just an impressive looking beast, okay? This thing is just damn impressive. And, so far, I really, really think that the price point is justified right here. All right, so starting off the accessories, we do actually have one set of replaceable hands. These ones are a little bit more flat than the ones that come on in the box. Kind of more chopping hands, or like maybe if his nails grow out and he has power whips, stuff like that. Very easy to pop off. We'll take this one. So you just pop. Oh, well, I guess that one decided it was going to pop off at the joint. I guess we won't use that one. We're going to use this one. Just pull off. Boom. That's how it's supposed to go. And then you post it like that. Boom. And that's it. Here's both of the separate hands put on the body after we had that little joint pull off. I guess it does kind of give him a little bit more of a menacing look. The wider hands kind of give him a little bit crazier look. It's definitely very nice. And for the last 4 accessories here, we have the elongated horns, claws, teeth. They all actually have cuts in them to tell you where they're at. It should be R4 and R3 on one side and L3 and L4 on the other, telling you left and right. Those are the segments from down, so we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, now that we're all zoomed in, so like I said, it's L3, R3, so you just pop these off, pretty easy. For QC warnings, there are some of these that are pretty loose. Mine articulate loose, but they don't pop off super loosely, so it's gonna be hit and miss for some people. I actually do find it hard to get these ones on. Son of a bitch. There you go. Got one on. God. There we go. Whew, okay, and after like literally 5 minutes of struggling, which the first few times that I've put these in, I never struggled with, I did this time. So be careful. And then of course, as we saw, these have small little ball joints in here. You got to be careful of those as well. It does look cool, but oh damn, dude, that was hard. Let's throw an Ultraman in there if I can attempt at least. And here's King of Mons holding Dinah captive. It looks pretty cool. I mean, the spikes are a little loose, so like, and then like the Ultramen don't lay flush with the back of King of Mons because they have the fin slash zipper. So like, it's cool, but it's also hard to set up. It would look better if they were facing towards King of Mons, but then it kind of loses the whole like, I'm captured type of look. So, you know, it's situational. They're not my favorite things, and I probably won't be using them very much, but I know it's important for the character because he does do it, or it does it, at least in the movie. So there you go. And as a bonus, here it is compared to the SH Monster Hearts Godzilla Evolved and the SH Monster Hearts Orthochromatic Shin Godzilla. Both of these looking super epic next to King of Mons, with King of Mons being the tallest of the three. All right, so the articulation on this is actually quite impressive. It can look all the way up when you use all of its joints. This is just a sleeve. This is an actual joint that has a ball joint in here and up in there that connect to there. It can't look very far down though. That is admittingly disappointing, but that's about the range it gets. This bottom joint here seems more like it's just connected. It's stationary. It can look to the sides, the head itself, and then it does turn. It's a little tight. I don't like doing it, especially for how expensive this is on the aftermarket. Don't want to buy another one. The jaw opens up pretty wide. It's not like a crazy amount, but it's also not like, you know, it's more than Evolved Godzilla. Monster Arts Evolved Godzilla. So the arms are sculpted in at an angle, which it helps and doesn't help. So there is a butterfly joint that can almost get it to where the hands are touching. You have to adjust the arms a little bit, and then you have to have the flat hands on, and they definitely do touch. So it does give it range. Was it necessary? Probably not, but it's welcome. And then the arms themselves, they can go all the way up. They can go flat, you know, stuff like that. They don't really go out because of that scheduling. That is far out as they go. They don't go 90 degrees. One, the sculpt, and then two, how they sculpted the arms at the joint. So there is no bicep. There are elbows that act as biceps, swivels as well. Mine are just tight, so we're not going to mess with it. There's two joints in the wrist. There's the bottom one here, the one that we saw pop off, or you might see. I don't know which order this is going to be in. And then you have this one, which at the joint, it mainly twists. The bottom one does all the shuffling and stuff. He does have two waist joints, which are very impressive. Of course, if you push it too far past its limit, these will start popping off. But that's about where you can go before things start popping off. And here's as far back, which does kind of reveal the gaps and stuff. So you kind of got to like move it. This is an open piece, kind of like the -1. So you kind of just adjust that with it. Now, Oop, I bumped the camera. I do apologize. The hips are an interesting section on this figure. So they do have these molds on here, which I can't remember what those are. Both legs kind of struggle to articulate at the same time. This one on mine really doesn't want to articulate, so we'll use this one for maximum range. It does go very far forward, although it goes out at an angle, and they do kind of go back. Although, of course, you want to watch out. You don't want to rub your gold paint. So be careful with that in there, in that crotch region. You don't want any paint rub. There isn't really a thigh swivel. And one thing I do have to note, because it is a QC issue, not really on mine, but on others, that these can come out of the box loose. But with how heavy this thing is, these are probably going to get loose over time as it is if you play with this a lot. So just be careful. It might happen, it might not, you know. I don't think it's going to be like a Shin Godzilla situation, the first release, but it definitely will over time. The rest of it, the knees pop down really low, or pretty low, and the ankles are probably one of the most impressive parts on this figure. Huge pivot, not pelvis, pivot, so you can get wide stances, and you can get them not exactly straight up and down, you know, in the neutral pose, but you can get it mostly there, and it looks good. The tail, very articulated, not quite as articulated as a Godzilla tail, but it's almost there. You get a lot of range. I would say this is probably one of the more articulated Ultraman kaiju tails. I don't think any of them are quite this crazy, at least for the ones that I have had in the past, or have, which I only have Earth Garon right now, so I can only compare it to Monster Hearts. But it's still very nice. And then, of course, something I didn't mention earlier, the wings come detached out, or when you open it from the box, and these are the hardest parts to put on. It took me forever in a Discord call, but once you do, here they are at their widest before they pop off, and here they are closed. They don't sit quite even. I think you can get this one even. I think mine has a little bit of mold, oopsie, or the way that I put it in. But, you know, as long as it doesn't break and I don't have to pop it in again, it's not as bad, especially because you have all these ball joints. I didn't even mention all these move and adjust. So you move them too much, they'll pop off, but you can adjust these. You can change the pose. You know, you can make it look good, okay? With all that into consideration, is it worth getting? Yes and no, which is kind of a flat answer. But if you're a completist for the Ultraman SH Figuarts line, yes, this is an absolute must. It's awesome. It's huge. And it looks awesome on the shelf. It's very imposing. Even if you're an SH Monster Arts collector, this thing is imposing next to everything. The only thing that makes this thing really look small or not as big is the Ghidorahs, and I would guess Biollante, even though this thing has height on Biollante. I don't know. I don't own mine anymore, regrettably. And maybe Earth. I think Earth is a little bit taller than Shin, but you guys saw this thing's taller than Shin, so it makes Shin even look small, which is crazy. It's impressive. If you're not a completist and you're afraid of the aftermarket price, which is completely valid, the aftermarket on this thing is crazy. This thing retailed with Japanese yen conversion at the time. It was 120 bucks. P Bandai had it for 160 or 180, I think, before shipping. And then no matter what, shipping's going to be expensive on this. This thing is a huge box. It rivals Shin Godzilla's box. When I paid for it, I had it shipped inside of another box. I didn't just have the shipper shipped to me. It was like $80, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure. It was like $80. So if you're going to ship it with just the shipper, it might be cheaper, but I wouldn't plan on that. You know, this thing is expensive. I would say if you have to have it, or if you're an Ultraman collector or a kaiju collector and you want something articulated that's big and imposing, even for your Godzilla kaiju, try to keep it under 300. I would say is my recommendation. If you could get it even cheaper, like 250 shipped, that's a win. Is that likely though? I'm not for sure. The last few prices I've seen for these on the aftermarket have been like 220, 250 on Nin Games. I think they had theirs for 270 before shipping. And then these sit at like the 220, 240 range. So it's going to be a little bit hard to find for a deal, but if you can get it before tariffs are activated, which would be tomorrow as of recording this video, That would probably be the best chance you get. Otherwise, you're going to be spending some money. It's really cool. I do recommend it. I love it personally. This thing is going to be sitting on my shelf forever. It's super cool. It's badass. Even if it gets a recolor, which it might get. It might not. We don't really know. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Take care. Have a wonderful day. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.